About this today is I know a lot of you have been to a lot of my workshops and a lot of my talks. This is going to be, I can promise you that probably 85 to 90% of what I'm going to talk about today is going to be completely brand new. In fact, I'm a little bit nervous because this is kind of like my first time officially teaching this and taking everything that I know in my brain, and I've spent the last 10 years studying and $500,000 in seminars and school and training. And I'm going to try to download as much of it on you today as I possibly can. So here's the thing, you will feel overwhelmed today. I can promise that, and I hope you do, all right? Because that's going to get you excited to want to learn more. Now, if this is the first nutrition talk that you've ever been to of ours or Maximize Living, I'm sorry, because I'm going to really skip over a lot of the basics, because I'm just assuming that the majority of people have heard this. And what I mean by that is that I normally talk about sugars, fats, and toxins, so I'm going to just gloss over that very, very, very quickly today. But if I'm kind of jumping over your head on a lot of things, we have books and resources available and other talks that I do on a regular basis where you can get caught up with that, right? So today is advanced nutrition. So again, you all got your bachelor's degree already, so now we're going straight into the master's and PhD program, all right? So it's going to be good. So this is going to be for the note takers. You're going to be scrambling. We are filming this though, and I will probably redo this also on a webinar too, so don't feel like you have to go too nuts as far as taking notes. My main goal though is that you can hopefully identify, because we're going to be talking a lot about hormones today, my main goal is that you're going to be able to identify 2 hormones in yourself that you recognize based on what I talk about that are way off, and then those are the ones that you're going to be attacking and going after, all right? So I'm going to talk about like 6 or 7 of them. So don't feel like you have to change all 7 of them because a lot of them are connected. But are we all ready to be strapped? Strap yourselves in? All right, good. Because let me say this too. I got 90 slides. This is probably going to go an hour and a half. All right, at least. Maybe a little bit longer, but you don't have anywhere else to be if that's more important than your health. So you're here. All right. Good. So let's make sure my clicker's working here. So we'll start off a little bit of something funny here today. I know this is how sometimes a lot of people feel like they need to weigh themselves to feel like you're gaining progress. Quick show of hands, actually. Again, if people that are challenging, how many of you, since starting, what are we, about 10 or 11 days into the challenge, how many of you already have started noticing some changes as far as like your energy, weight, the way your clothes are fitting, sleeping patterns? Yeah? Good. Awesome. So remember too here is that with everything that we're teaching you is not some quick fad diet. It's not like we're going to slam a bunch of weight off your body or whatever. The goal here is to change the dynamic and the metabolism inside your body so that you're retraining your body, that you can be carrying these life skills and this lifestyle beyond the 30-day challenge. Because we always say, like, if you're going to get your spine corrected and then not maintain it, like, what's the point of doing that in the first place? At the same point, if you're going to buy a car and not take it for regular oil changes and all those things, you might as well just ride a bike or ride public transportation. Or, if you're going to work really hard and eat well and exercise for the next 30 days, but not do any of that after the 30 days are over, you might as well just stop after today. You know what I mean? So, again, this goal is hopefully, and the reason we did this compared to like last year is that hopefully today will be kind of like that next little jump or reminder or boost to help carry you through the end, okay, of this challenge. You get the best results and you have the most momentum moving forward, all right? So, again, we're going to be talking about hormones, right? We're not going to be talking about diets or fads or anything like that. We're going to be talking about how to change the hormone dynamic inside of your body. So if you're not really exactly sure, like, most people when they think of hormones, they just think about, women, being grumpy or something like that. That's not the only the hormones that come into play, all right? Hormones regulate almost every single function on the inside of your body, all right? To how well your body is making certain things, to the way your brain is working, that's all controlled by hormones. So they can either help you store fat or burn fat or build muscle and tear down muscle based on how well they're working inside of your body. So the first one we're going to talk about is insulin. Okay? And if you want to do like an AKA to remember here, that's called the fat, also known as the fat storage hormone. So insulin, most people have heard of and are familiar with insulin if you're a diabetic or somebody that's a diabetic. So people that have really bad blood sugar, they take insulin or they inject it or whatever. But insulin is in every single one of us, all right, and it's either in balance or it's out of balance. So insulin is going to be the main hormone that actually takes basically the sugar and the carbohydrates, and therefore the energy, out of your bloodstream from the food that you eat, all right, and deposit it to wherever it needs to go, whether it's in your muscle to make sure your muscle can, move and exercise there, or to make sure that your brain can function, all right? So insulin is going to do that. Now what happens is that when you eat a carbohydrate, and that could be, a bagel, or that could be a piece of broccoli, all right, that's a carbohydrate. Your body's going to begin breaking that down immediately, and then it's insulin's job to be raised, okay, from your pancreas to go find that, grab it, and then put it wherever it needs to go, right, for the energy and utilization. Now what happens though is that when there's too much of the refined carbohydrates and the simple carbohydrates, aka sugar, then your insulin is constantly being injected and shot into your system like crazy, and what happens is that not only does your pancreas get really tired and worn out, all right, but also your cells in your body becomes less and less responsive to that. All right, I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that here in a second. So here's a little infographic here just to kind of give you an idea of all the different kinds of sugars sources that you can find in our food sources. All right, so do not let labels fool you. Anything on here, okay, turns into the same product at the end of the day as regular white table sugar would do. All right, honey, lactose comes from dairy products, xanthan gum, of course, high fructose corn syrup. Anything with corn in it turns into sugar. All right, so like cornstarch, dextrose comes from corn, so that's a filler in a lot of packaged food products. Sucrose is just regular sugar. Sugar cane, cane juice, all that. You see a lot of stuff in like Whole Foods products. It's like, oh, it's from Whole Foods, so I must be okay. Or cane juice is more natural, so therefore I can eat it. No, okay, it does the same thing in your body. And the same thing with fructose too. Also breaks down. So to see where we can really get ourselves into a lot of trouble here, I'm just going to show a couple pictures. So a lot of our sugar sources are going to come from beverages. So you can see here one Sobe green tea drink has the exact same amount of sugar as 4 slices of Sara Lee cherry pie, right? I mean, that's insane, right? So you think about, you drink that along with a piece of Sara Lee cherry pie, you're really in trouble, okay? So, again, these can be sometimes where it can be very deceptive, because we think about beverages that would contain lots of sugar only being in something like, like a soda, right? Or a can of Coke. But it can come in things where like, oh, I heard green tea is good for me. Dr. Oz says green tea is good for me. So you go on, you just pick one off the shelf, probably the cheapest one, all right? And yeah, I think this is made by Coca-Cola, and you're getting, probably more sugar in that than you would be getting in even a can of Coke in the first place. One Rockstar energy drink, all right? Look at that. That's the equivalent of 6 Krispy Kreme donuts as far as how much sugar is in one of those things there. So again, it's like there's no need and reason to ever consume something like that whatsoever. Don't fall into the marketing buzz. Uh-oh. One venti white chocolate mocha with whipped cream has as much sugar as 8.5 scoops of Eddie's ice cream. So, I only get the talls. Okay, so then you had 5 or 6 scoops instead. Okay, so I like lattes just as much as the next person, but when I go to Starbucks, I bring my own stevia, my own natural sweetener. I put that there instead, and then for me that's a special treat, because it's not organic espresso and it's not organic milk. All right. So here's how this works as far as your cell receptors inside of your body. Okay. So all the red little molecules on here, all the red little dots, those are glucose, okay? So remember, carbohydrates break down into this right here, all right? All the little blue dots are going to be insulin, all right? It's insulin's job to, again, find and connect to a little red dot of glucose there. And what it does is that in order for the sugar and the glucose to enter your cell, this is a cell right here, the insulin has to bind to a receptor site so that it opens up a channel so sugar can come in, all right? So think of it as like a key that opens the door so sugar can come into your cell, all right? Now what happens though when there's too much sugar going on, so you're constantly eating excess sugar, there's excess insulin, what happens you see is some of these receptor sites here have actually burned off and died off because they were bombarded so much that they wore out, okay? So they literally just shut down because they couldn't handle the constant influx that they just were working. They died too early, all right? So what happens is there's normally 20,000 insulin receptor sites on a normal cell. People that have diabetes will drop down to about 5,000 sets, so they're only operating at about 75% capacity. Well, then what happens then, as you can imagine, so all that sugar then, which is supposed to be going into cells, can't, so it stays inside your bloodstream, but it's got to get out of your bloodstream. So now your liver wakes up, your brain's talking to your liver, it wakes up, and it's like, I got to do something here or my body's going to shut down and die. So then the liver consumes and takes all of this sugar right here, converts it, turns it into fat, and stores it in all those lovely places that you love it to be in. All right, so that's how that happens. So the way that you fix that, with the way you get, so it's really not an insulin problem per se, but it's the way your body is behaving and responding to insulin. The way you fix that is that you stop bombarding it with all this glucose, and what's amazing is that these receptor sites then will kind of recognize that it's safe to come out again, and then they'll kind of regrow again, and then now everything can be back to normal. So that's how we're able to see really dozens and dozens of people every single year here in this office that have diabetes, that are able to reverse that and get back down to a normal blood sugar level and completely reverse their diagnosis of diabetes or pre-diabetes or, high blood sugar. I mean, the other people, you can be having issues with this even if you're not diagnosed with pre-diabetes or diabetes. But also if you're storing too much fat, and you know you are, then you have a problem and you're on your way towards becoming diabetic or pre-diabetic, all right? So you give your body a rest, it will repair and regenerate itself. Remember, your body is an incredible self-healing, self-regulating, self-organizing machine, all right? It's the most beautiful machine ever made and created. But you got to give it a break and remove the interference in order to allow that to happen, all right? And good things like chiropractic care too, actually, there was a great study that was done 4 years ago that found that the better your nervous system works, actually the better and the diabetics can have as far as changing their lifestyle and reversing these types of conditions. So here's how this works as far as a domino effect. So putting more carbs or sugar into your bloodstream, again, is going to raise your insulin up, all right? So as that happens, then your body becomes less and less sensitive, this is kind of summarizing here, less and less sensitive to the insulin response. So therefore, there's more and more sugar floating around in your bloodstream, and that leads to worse hormone problems, more fat being stored, larger amounts of inflammation, all right? You're aging faster due to a process called glycation. Glycation is when you get like cataracts, you get brown spots starting to form on your skin. Those are all processes of glycation. Wrinkles are glycation too. That's all being caused by insulin being off in your body. And basically any single health problem and disease that we know about has a root cause of inflammation going on in it too, all right? So we reverse that by putting less carbs and less sugar in your body, so therefore your body is producing less and less insulin, becomes more and more sensitive to that, which means less sugar inside of your system, which means your hormones can repair, your receptor sites can grow back, inflammation goes down, your aging slows down, all right, and then therefore you start getting to optimal health, okay? Is everybody with me so far? We got a lot more left, all right, but everybody's with me, good, all right? So again, basically you got to give your bodies a chance. That's all you got to do, and watch how powerful and how much it can regenerate when you give it a chance. So here's why you don't listen to, and why the first slide that said the movement that is changing healthcare, because healthcare has to stink and change, all right, because this is literally taken from a hospital's website that they give to all their diabetic patients. All right, I know you're not going to be able to read this, but I'm going to list off some of the things that they tell diabetics that they're allowed to eat. All right, margarine. They can have 1 slice of whole grain bread, or 1/4 of a large bagel, 6 inches of a tortilla, 1 package plain oatmeal, so just all kinds of crazy carbs. And they're literally told them that they, so eat one of these as far as 5 grams or 15 grams of carbohydrates. They can have a tablespoon of sugar, cookies, crackers, and of course everything has to be fat-free. I can't remember where that says here. Make low-fat choices and control your portion sizes. And so you can see here, they're told that the average man can have 60 to 75 carbohydrates per meal. All right, so that's almost 200 carbohydrates per day. The Maximize Living Advanced Plan that reverses diabetes usually in 4 to 6 weeks recommends about 40 carbs per day. So they're literally getting 5 times the amount of carbs that they should be getting to ever have a chance of being able to reboot their hormones and reverse their diabetes. So guess what? These people become customers for what? For the rest of their life, right? That's why the average diabetic will pay anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 out of pocket or more over the course of their lifetime. And that's not assuming that that will lead to heart disease and cancer, because if you're a diabetic or a pre-diabetic, your chances of having a heart attack or getting cancer are astronomically higher, all right? So it's just downright ridiculous. So it's like, who are you going to be listening to when it comes to your health care? People that want to see you heal and get better, or they're just going to help you maintain where you're at and be a customer for the rest of their life? Just ridiculous. The other problem, so when we talk about sugar here, looking back at 1931, Nobel Prize, so Dr. Otto Warburg was an MD, PhD, and for that year, he literally won the top prize in science across the entire world, showing that the primary fuel that cancer cells will use inside of your body is the fermentation of sugar, so the breakdown of sugar. So when you think about what feeds sugar, all right, okay, or what feeds cancer, it's sugar, all right? So the way you kill cancer is not by chemotherapy and radiation or surgery. It's by starving the cancer and stop feeding it in the first place. And so when you think about that, I can only imagine what the typical cancer patient is ever told as far as making lifestyle recommendations as far as when they get diagnosed with cancer. So you have cancer. The worst thing, the worst, 6-letter word you could ever hear. What are my options? Chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, or a combination of all of that. Well, what else can I do on that? Chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, listen to us or die. It's just such a ridiculous thing. And yet we look at medical research here. This comes out of cancer research. So the top cancer research journal across the entire world found that fructose, sugar, induces, blah, 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 to promote cancer growth, all right? So literally they know. It's like these are medical doctors doing this study. These are oncologists doing these studies, finding that and showing improving that cancer cells. I'm not going to read this, but basically it says carbohydrate metabolism via glycolysis adversely affects cancer survival. So what that means is that the more sugar you have when you're diagnosed with cancer, the less likely your chances are of living, all right? So when you think about that, you could reverse engineer that. The less sugar you eat then if you have cancer, what does that mean for your survival rates? Obviously it's going to go up, all right? So again, cancer is the #2 cause of death in our country right now, and by 2030 it will be #1 by far, across the world by far. So it's getting worse. And so again, they have major significance for cancer patients given dietary refined fructose consumption and indicate efforts to reduce refined fructose intake or inhibit it may disrupt cancer growth. Again, so they know this stuff. And yet when I've met with cancer patients before, whether they've had it in the past or they currently have it and they're coming into my office for help, for true health care, not just sick care, they've never once been told that. I've never had one person, unfortunately I've done with too many cancer patients, they've never once been educated on how to change their lifestyle. So again, if you don't want to develop cancer, well then you shouldn't be feeding, because every single one of us grows between 8,000 to 12,000 cancer cells per day, just because our bodies break down, all right? So you can either starve those cancer cells and they never become a problem, or you can feed them and they'll rapidly grow out of control. So next one's leptin, all right? This is a famous picture, a famous study within the nutritional world, because this poor guy right here, they burned out all the leptin receptors inside of his brain, so literally his brain 100% stopped hearing the messages to burn fat, all right? And there's his cloned buddy right there, so that's what he should have looked like, all right? So leptin is think of it as the fat manager, all right? So it kind of controls when and how much you should be eating, and it also controls, again, how well your body is going to respond to the fat-burning signals. So somebody who has a very good, so you can kind of think of it as the same way as the more sensitive your body is to insulin, the better you get sugar out of your system, the better your body is sensitive to leptin, the easier you will burn fat, all right? So it regulates your appetite and stimulates your metabolism, so the more fat you have on your body, the more leptin your body will produce, okay? Because it comes from your fat cells. I'll show that in a second. So again, when you have high levels of leptin, that's going to tell the brain that it has enough fat energy, and it's going to stop burning and stop eating and tell you to stop eating. But too much, again, is going to cause your brain to start ignoring leptin. So here's another study done out of the Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism Journal, is that they found that weight regain after a diet-induced loss is predicted by higher baseline leptin and lower ghrelin plasma. We're going to talk about ghrelin in a second here. But so, when you watch those shows, like Biggest Loser, on TV, right? And you see people that will lose 100 pounds. What you don't know about those studies is that before they'll let people come on their show, they'll actually test their leptin levels, because they know that if their leptin is really bad, they're not going to get changes whatsoever. So they pre-screen these people. So the only ones that they'll actually allow to go through and be on the show are the ones that they know are going to get really, really good results because their leptin levels are intact. All right? So again, just to show you how important that is. People that get rejected, that needed it maybe worse than the other people that should have been on there, it's because their leptin, they knew that they weren't going to get as fast of results in 8 to 12 weeks or whatever. All right? So we're going to help you reboot your leptin levels. So here's how this works. So again, your fat cells, wherever they may be, they're what produce the leptin, all right? So that those leptin signals are going to transmit through your blood up into your brain, all right? Your brain is going to hear those messages to burn it, all right? And then through your nervous system, then it's going to send signals, okay, down back to the fat cells to either stay there, keep doing your job, or I need to burn you because we need energy, all right? So it's a cyclical communication that's going on. Now what happens is that, of course, the more of these fat cells that you have, the more signals that are going to be going up into your brain, all right? And therefore the brain's going to stop hearing it because it's going to be too bombarded with hearing all those messages like, listen, I got to make my heart beat, I got to make my body fight cancer cells, the immune system, my digestion. So it's like, I'm going to divert energy away from that, and then therefore these signals then stop going down into your fat cells to burn. So this is the kind of person then that will exercise like crazy. They will eat really, really well, or do like a really severe caloric restriction, like they'll eat grass and twigs, and the scale won't budge a bit because again, their brain is not hearing those messages to burn fat. This really screws a lot of people up, all right? It can be very, very psychologically damaging, all right? Because it's like, why the heck is this not happening? It's coming because your leptin receptors are burned out. So the reason why I talk about leptin second is that you can see how this works then, right? If your insulin levels are high, then you're going to store more fat, right? So then if you have more fat, then you're going to be producing more leptin. And if you're producing more leptin, then your body becomes less sensitive to that. So that whole cycle, two things are then throwing you off. So you can't really, there's a way to get your leptin receptors booted at the core, really through detoxification, but you see how really it goes back to carbohydrates then as being the main cause then of why you can't burn fat and screwing up your hormones. So, quick kind of summary here on how this works. Again, so when leptin goes down in your body, your brain's like, I gotta eat, all right? So it's gonna go up. So then you're gonna be burning food and starting to burn energy. When leptin is high, then your hunger is gonna go down, all right? Now what happens is when people get screwed up, both of these things will be remaining high. So your leptin is up, so you're in fat storing mode, but it's telling that you're hungry. So you keep eating, you keep eating, you keep eating, no matter what you do. And there's standard North American eating patterns, eating empty calories or chemical-based calories, like galore, really throws us off because it's falsely stimulating your metabolism, yet there's nothing to really burn and convert and use. So your body's working, and it gets screwed up. So again, when we look at it like this here, it's the exact same principle here, is that the leptin, all right, is burning out, and those signals that are, these are going to be neuron cells now in your brain, are not able to go through, so all that leptin is just flowing around, it's just going crazy. And so again, when you reduce your calories then and you start eating better, the abnormal leptin levels will still stay high, okay? So all you'll do is you'll only burn the sugar that you ate, the food that you ate, and you'll never start burning the fat cells that are stuck around your midsection, all right? So leptin's very complicated here, but the thing is that this has been around for about 8 to 10 years, so unfortunately you won't start hearing about it from your primary care doctors for another 20, all right? They're usually about 30 years behind in nutritional principles. That's honestly, if you look at it, they're about 30 years behind. Because they're still telling you what? Stop eating too many calories, right? Or stop eating too much saturated fat. Like, that was taught in the 70s, all right? That's been completely disproven now to be a legitimate source of being healthier and losing weight, because we've gotten way fatter in the last 30 years than we were back then. So, but yet that's all they still tell you. It's like, eat right and exercise. Like, well, thanks, that was helpful, or lay off the dairy, and it's like, what the heck, So then now we're looking at being a fat burner or a sugar burner, all right? Every single one of you, your goal is to become a fat burner, all right? But the problem is that now as you begin to do these type of exercises over these past couple of weeks here, a lot of you are beginning to shift into becoming fat burners, all right? So fat burners literally burn fat 24/7, all right? Sugar burners, you never burn any fat whatsoever. So your goal, and the reason why those exercises, the way we do them, are so vital is that it's going to help you become a fat burner, all right? Conventional cardio, going out and walking for 30 minutes or an hour, or going on a treadmill, or just going and slowly working out in the gym, you will never become a fat burner doing that way, all right? You'll always be a sugar burner because you're not training your body to do that. So as a fat burner, your hormones are completely under control. You burn fat in your sleep. You get more energy out of eating less food, all right? So you actually don't have to eat as much, all right? Because your body's going to be more efficient at absorption. And no matter what you eat, all right, that's why you can see this is a picture of I put this picture, a skinny girl eating Hardee's. And, I guarantee you when you think about people, those people that you hate stubbornly, or you selfishly, sinfully hate, it's the people that eat really, really, really bad food. It might be a family member of yours or a coworker, and you're like, how the heck do they eat the worst food always, and they never gain any weight, okay? And yet here I am busting my, butt, all right, and eating the right foods, and they're doing better than I am. It's because they're lucky because up until that point, they're still actually, their body's hearing leptin and burning fat. Some people are a little bit more genetically resistant to having problems with that, and some people are a little bit more genetically susceptible to having their leptin levels get off faster. But the key is to not hate these people. You love your neighbor as yourself, all right? But your goal is to become one of them, all right? So look at them for inspiration. Not that therefore you could eat Hardee's or fast food whenever you want, all right? But that's where you could go, and you could go travel, let's say over the 4th of July, have not so good food and not gain 5 pounds the next day, all right? You'll be able to efficiently burn it off. Now most of you are sugar burners, all right? So again, body's forgotten how to burn fat. You rely on sugar for energy. So what does that mean? As soon as all that sugar's been burned off, usually it's about 2 hours, what does your brain tell you? I need more. So then it starts sending signals to your stomach, and it starts growling, saying like, hey, we got to get eating again. So then it's like, and what do you crave? Not broccoli. It craves quick energy, which is going to be like fruit or sugar or candy, or specifically going to be carbohydrates like bread, rice, pasta, all right, pizza, things like that. And it's again because you're a sugar burner. So in order for your body to keep the energy levels high, otherwise you majorly crash, again, it's going to keep sending signals to spike up that insulin, spike up that blood sugar by craving sugar. So that's when you get those uncontrollable cravings. So a lot of you, as you really cut back probably over the last 10 or 11 days, have probably felt downright grumpy some of the hours of the days because you're not having your normal carbohydrate intake, and you're retraining your brain and your entire hormonal system to work for you and not against you, all right? And therefore, there's a little internal battle that's going on in you right now. It's okay. You got to stay resolved and win, all right? So also these people typically plateau, all right? So that's where you can maybe work out 6 days a week, for months and months and months at a time. And you plateau like a 5-pound weight loss, can never get below whatever a certain number no matter what you try. It's because you're still burning sugar only and not burning fat, all right? So this is going to require the advanced plan to really burn through that. So the eating plan, the eating guide that Dr. Raleigh put together for you, all right, is all going to be advanced plan approved things other than the few cheat days that we, kind of have put in there. Those are more core plan. But the advanced plan is again designed to dramatically cut your carbs down to about 30 to 40 grams a day, dramatically up your fats and your proteins, so that's where you're going to get your primary energy source from instead. That's how you reboot your hormones very, very quickly. Get rid of inflammation like blood pressure issues, diabetes issues, and cholesterol issues very, very, very quickly. All right? So linking with leptin is going to be toxicity. All right? Now, I know a lot of you are at the same. We did 2 months ago. I did a whole 90-minute, 2-hour long session just on toxins. But I want to talk about how it relates to the fat cells and the leptin inside of your body. All right? So remember, toxins are fat soluble, and what that means is that they have an affinity or a strong love for being able to go and enter fat cells. All right? So they actually will clog up those channels and block some of those channels that you saw on the earlier slides there. So what that happens, and the reason why is your body will recognize, so again, your body's very smart, it'll recognize when there's toxins in your system, so it's going to take those toxins and make sure they stay away from your vital organs like your heart, your lungs, your digestive organs, your immune glands, and so it'll actually push them away from that and deposit it in fat cells. So when it goes in your fat cell, think of it, it's kind of like isolated off from the outside world. Think of like a crazy person, like they put them in a padded cell, because they're not safe for society, all right? Think of it like that as toxins, so they get locked away, and sometimes for unfortunate people, the key gets thrown away, and that's why you can never burn. So toxins then will also trigger, so they trigger leptin to be produced, all right? So again, think about the war going on inside of your body. When your body's toxic, it's like, okay, it's got to make more leptin to create more fat so we can make more and more of a place to put those toxins, okay? You guys with me on that? So again, it's recognizing that you're putting toxins in, so it's honestly trying to help you. I mean, think about it. Would you rather want toxins in your fat cells where they're safe, or would you want damage in your heart and your lungs and your stomach? It's like, again, your body's trying to protect you, but you're the one that's doing all the damage, all right? So these people then become that's why toxic people become very unresponsive to weight loss, all right? Because their leptin levels are probably not only off from having bad insulin levels, but now we throw a toxic perspective in there and they don't go anywhere. So the other thing is that they release cytokines, which is an inflammatory marker again, and I'm not going to go into that because then we'll be here for 4 hours. But remember, inflammation in your body, not good, all right? It's very, very damaging. Think of it as like acid. Think of it as like rust, okay? It's very, very damaging. But that'll eventually lead to MSH burnout, all right? So quick review from the toxin seminar. MSH is one of the main hormones in your body that produces and causes things like chronic pain, gastrointestinal problems, make you less resistant to bacteria, so you're sicker more often. Your cortisol levels get off, that's your stress levels. Your sex hormones go down, sex drive goes down, testosterone, estrogen levels get way out of imbalance. Your ACH hormone gets way off, so you have to pee all the time, and you can't sleep, all right? So again, cytokines coming from toxins lead to all of those things I just listed and more, all right? So that's why, again, toxicity is a major issue in our society and leading to problems, okay? So I'm going to do a quick little video here, 90 seconds of somebody explaining, Dr. Pompa explaining this link here.
So many people come in.
Maybe not. Where'd that video go?
So many people come into my office who just simply cannot lose weight. And we realize now that it's because of the level of toxicity. Once again, going back to toxins. The toxins come into the body, and they actually attach themselves to fat because they're fat soluble. So they have to make a lot of toxins. The other one's called leptin. Leptin is a hormone from your brain that burns fat. So now you're going to talk so the leptin levels continue to rise, and eventually the receptor sites which reside in your brain to this hormone burn out. So now your brain can't hear the message from this hormone leptin. So guess what? You can't burn fat, regardless of how much exercise you do, regardless of what diet you eat. You will not burn fat. You will not lose weight because your body's not getting the signal from leptin.
So, without a show of hands, okay, you can maybe blink 3 times at me. How many of you that you can relate to that? Okay, most people. All right. So this is kind of how it plays out in another way. So again, this person on the far end of the spectrum would have the most weight off, all right? So what happens then is it creates, again, a false sort of paradigm inside of your nervous system is that a person, even though this person weighs over 300, 400 pounds their body still thinks that it's at the ideal weight of 150 for that person, all right? And that's why it won't burn fat, because then if you become, undernourished and malnourished and you get too skinny, that creates a different type of disease and health problems, all right? But that's why, so your brain thinks like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm at my set ideal weight point right there because all the leptin receptors are screwed up. So again, false paradigm going on inside of your nervous system. So that's why detoxing is so key, all right? And we have a product that specifically does this. So we have clinically proven it to find that it dramatically spikes up your glutathione levels, and it will dislodge those cytokines and toxins from your cell membranes to allow them then to finally be burned off, okay? That's why this works. That's why a lot of people will lose belly fat and weight on there. It also helps to reset your leptin production and your receptors, okay? So it's two parts. Cell detox is going to be the one that's going to punch and kind of dislodge all those toxins from your cell membranes. And then body detox is going to be the part that's going to grab to, suck up and bind, and then pull all of it out through your digestive system, all right? Now think about this. So this one's taken in the morning. So why this works. So this is taken in the morning. So then all day long it's kind of punching out and working on getting those toxins out of your body, all right? Then you take body detox at nighttime, because at nighttime your body will naturally go through a detoxification cycle, which is why if you're healthy, one of the first things that happens when you wake up in the morning is you have a bowel movement, okay? Because that's trying to get toxins out. So basically all it's doing is that it's giving your body a little bit of an added boost to get those toxins dislodged quicker, that are really stubborn and easier, and then when you have your normal cycles of bowel movements, everything, all that stuff gets washed away, all right? Now here's the thing. Most of you have stinking been toxic for your entire life, all right? Because you've just been putting junk inside of your bodies. You had junk from vaccines injected into you from birth. You know, you were given rounds and rounds of antibiotics your entire life. You've been eating bad food up until a lot of you started making recent changes here. So you got to realize that this is not like, well, I'm going to do a detox for like 4 days or 30 days and like, hallelujah, I'm toxic free. It's like, hell no, okay? H-E-L-L no, all right? It doesn't work that way. I mean, if it was that powerful, I mean, like we would charge $5,000 for this stuff, okay? That doesn't work that way. But here's the thing, is that this also is going to retrain your body. That was recorded, I said hell, that's all right. I'll have to edit that part out. So here's the thing, is it's retraining your body to work better on its own too, so that it can better detoxify itself, all right? So, and this is at a cellular level, which is why, like, oh, you know, I do a colon cleanse once a quarter. It's like, great, so you cleaned out a little bit of junk in your colon. What about the toxic cells that were sitting in your fat right here, okay? Or right here? How did the colon cleanse work at getting those things out? It doesn't work that way, okay? You have to allow your body to do its job on its own, where your liver is the main detoxifying organ. So all the things in here, like milk thistle, chlorella, spirulina, just help your liver work really, 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 really well to push all that stuff out of there, okay? So we put a package, because usually 90 days is a good length of time to really go after this and get a deep down to the deep rooted toxins in your body. So I recommend, if you're going to do it 90 days back to back to back, all right? You should do that at least once a year. If you know you're really, really, really toxic, then just, you know, buckle down and know that you're probably going to have to do it for the entire year, all right? So we put a bundle for 15% off for a 3-month supply for that today, okay? So the next part we're going to talk about is the digestive system, and how that plays a role with ghrelin, and how well your body is able to digest and assimilate nutrients in food, all right? Because this is another problem that comes with weight loss, or with weight loss resistance. So when your intestine, specifically your small and large intestine are working normally, all right, all these food products here are going to be going through there nicely, broken down. Now, things that are a little bit harder to be digested, they end up not getting broken down until they get into your colon, which is why things like beans, which are not really easily digestible, can give people gas, all right? Like they're the magical fruit, right? So, because the more you eat, the more you... Thank you. One person does it. So, what happens though is that if your intestinal flora, the bacteria in your digestive system, gets out of balance, meaning that there's an overgrowth of bad bacteria, what happens is that instead of that only being isolated to being in the colon, it begins to spread up your digestive system. So now it gets into your lower digestive system, upper digestive system. So now when you're even eating easily digestible things, like let's say fruit or broccoli or other like kind of complex carbohydrates, now they're still not being broken down and they're hitting that bad bacteria, and now you're getting major fermentation and gas way too soon, all right? So that's what's happening. If you have major digestive issues or gas issues going on, all right, if major imbalance in your digestive system, it's because there's been an overgrowth of bacteria that's basically crept up, and it's creeping up higher and higher and higher each and every single day, week, and month and year that you're not addressing that. All right? I know it's kind of gross to talk about poop and toots, all right, but it's a reality, all right, because again, this creates a big-time major imbalance inside your digestive system, which leads to inflammation. And then when you have inflammation, right, what happens is the intestinal walls and the cell walls inside of your small and large intestine, they spread out, okay, so as they get spread out because they swell up, right, and now you eat packaged foods, So there's some toxins in there, and then rather than being able to nicely get through your digestive system and then out through your feces, all those toxins leak out in between those cells. Now they go into your system. Now your body recognizes there's more toxins in your system, so where do they go? Into your fat cells, okay? So this is why, again, digestive health goes beyond just, you know, how well and how often you're going to the bathroom, but is there inflammation or not going on inside of your digestive system? Because if your digestive, how many of you have heard of leaky gut before? Yeah, it's like a major thing. Here's the thing, I would say 75 to 80% of Americans have some form of leaky gut going on because of the standard foods that most of them eat, all right? So, hold on. So then as that happens, then those toxins are being recognized that they're coming from food, which is then your immune system starts waking up, and it's like, wait a minute, every single time I eat this, and it may be even you're eating something good along with the toxin, every single time I eat this, it makes my body go crazy, all right? So let's say you're having, I don't know, I can't think of it, but let's say you're like eggs and something else that's bad for you. It starts recognizing that the eggs are part of what's causing the problem. So now let's say you kind of get off of the bad foods and you're still eating eggs, your immune system is still kind of on high alert to recognizing that eggs are not good for you. So then now you start getting immune abnormalities, and that's how people, one of the main reasons why people get autoimmune diseases. So again, autoimmunity, so fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple sclerosis, I guarantee you, I mean, in fact, there's a lot of research shows that if you just help these people fix their digestive systems up, most of those immune system problems completely go away, again, rather than being customers for life. But of course, again, most, doctors, conventional doctors, are not interested in working with that whatsoever. They just figure, what kind of drug can we put these people on to suppress their immune system? And then you stink and suppress the immune system, and if your immune system is suppressed, what are you more susceptible to? Disease and cancer, okay? And now you're going to die earlier just because you've been damaging your intestines. So remember, every single health problem that is going on inside of you right now, it's your fault, all right? It's not anybody else's fault. You did it to yourself, all right? And I know that maybe it's harsh to hear that, but it's the reality. So you can test to what you are intolerant to with an IgG or an IgA test. That's an immune test right there. It's about $700 to $800 to do that, but this is not to be confused with allergy testing, all right? I'd be like, oh yeah, I go to an allergist and they pricked my skin with a few different things and they found that I'm allergic to dairy or something like that. That is not the same, all right? That is looking at, basically that looks at if your immune system goes overblown, but most of these people are subtle immune system damage going on, and that can only be tested by seeing elevated levels of IgG and IgA. So an allergy test, in my opinion, is completely worthless, all right, because this test, IgG and IgA, will actually look at what's going on with that. So most medical clinics don't do this because, again, it's like insurance companies will only pay for like the food allergy, like the regular food allergy test. They really typically don't cover the IgG and IgA test because why would they, right? Because then you solve the problem, you get rid of down to the cause of the problem. You're no longer their customer anymore. Yes, Mr. 3.
Leaky gut. I know what leak means. So what actually leaky gut?
Well, think about it. So whatever's it's supposed to be in your intestinal system and going through and getting out through your bowels there, that's the stuff that's leaking out.
Oh, okay.
So we're talking feces, right? We're talking bacteria. We're talking about toxins from food. We're talking about chemical byproducts, red number 5, yellow number 5. IgG and IgA. Yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah. So one of the big problems with that is candida. This is kind of a gross. This is actually don't Google candida, okay? Let me just tell you, I made that mistake yesterday afternoon, and I had to make sure like the adult filter was on the Google search, right? Because there were some disgusting pictures, all right? So I took the painless one, all right? But all these little white little things on there, those are candida colonies in this side of this person's digestive tract, all right? So yes, it is. So candida is like a yeast, it's a bacteria, all right? So this is probably the most prevalent form of bad bacteria that we as Americans have going on inside of our digestive system. It's caused by high sugar diet, lots of junk food, excessive alcohol, and also excessive stress, all right? Which is where like a lot of people, if you get like yeast infections and things like that, women especially, I guarantee you can pinpoint that they oftentimes will happen after high periods of stress, okay, or you're just more susceptible to having that happen. maybe 2, because typically high periods of stress lead to worse eating as well. Majorly inflammatory. In fact, you can see like there's bumps and ridges kind of going on through there. You can kind of see that down there deeper, right? That's all inflammation and swelling. So again, we're looking at leaky gut. So in between that, those toxins are leaking out. And the major cause of that is antibiotics, all right? Yep. So again, think about how this works. You take an antibiotic because that was the only thing you could do, or really according to who? Your medical doctor for whatever you had going on, a bunch of BS. So you take that, you completely obliterate the normal gut flora inside of your body. So what happens? Candida is very resilient. It's now becoming a superbug. They're getting more and more resilient to antibiotics. So what happens? They get to take over all the occupied space of where the good stuff was. So now you got all this bad stuff going on. So now you're getting inflammatory response here going on, okay, inside of your body. You're getting leaky gut. Your immune system's going crazy. So guess what? Every single time you get an antibiotic, that drives you closer and closer and closer to developing autoimmune conditions, okay? Every single time, all right? So imagine these poor kids then that are getting shoved on 8 to 10 rounds of antibiotics before they're even 18 years old and can make a decision for themselves. They're screwed, all right? And that's why. So again, the overusage of antibiotics is the #1, or I say in the top 10. I shouldn't make a blanket statement like that. Top 10 problems in our medical system, because they're just throwing it at anything, and no wonder why autoimmune disease, which you never heard about 40 years ago, 50 years ago, you never heard of fibromyalgia ever. People are now having that. It's like 1 out of 8 or 10 people have an autoimmune condition in this country. No other people in any other countries have autoimmune conditions like this, and yet our antibiotic prescription rates are 10 times higher than the next highest country. Stupid, all right? It's stupid. So again, if you don't know what to do to get rid of whatever's going on there, well, there's 2 problems. That #1 is that you will only ever get sick and quote-unquote need an antibiotic if your immune system is weak in the first place. So again, you can treat the symptoms of your immune system sucking with an antibiotic, or you could get down to the underlying cause of why your immune system is not working in the first place, all right? Because again, this is like a bomb going off inside of your body. There's massive, massive, massive collateral damage, not only with your immune system, but also they've done studies. They found that every 2 rounds of antibiotics you get in your life increase your risk of cancer by 33%. So you have to decide, is it worth taking that to get over this chest cold, a little bronchitis a little bit faster, which, oh, by the way, the majority of bronchitis is typically caused by viruses. Will an antibiotic ever kill a virus? It can't, okay? So again, throwing it at it, it's not going to help you. So if you want to know if you have a candida problem, again, this is the tamest, don't Google this one either. This is the tamest form of how you can test this. So what you do, I'm going to read this off to you, write it down, all right? I'll post this on Facebook if anybody needs this graphic. So in a clear glass of water, first thing in the morning, before you put anything into your mouth, you're going to work up a bunch of saliva, all right? You're going to spit into a cup of water, all right? You're going to let it sit for 15 to 30 minutes. If you see strings that are coming down from the spit globule that you put on top of the water right there, you have a major candida problem. Yummy. I look forward to hearing about your results from that one, okay? Or if the water turns cloudy, or if your saliva sinks all the way down to the bottom, that's also candida too, all right? So, meaning normally, saliva sits there on top and it just be floating saliva, okay? So if you got strings, cloudy water, or it sinks all the way to the bottom, you got a major candida problem, which means your nutrition is horrible, and you have yeast and fungus galore inside of your body, okay? Yep, it is nasty. But you can test this on your own rather than going, you can either, well, I won't even say how a medical doctor tests for this, so just take my word for it. It's easier to do it this way, okay?
We won't.
Yeah. Let's say I would never do that test. So, Max GI, all right? This product is probably, in my opinion, probably the most effective supplement that we offer. I think that's fair to say, because I've had people that have had irritable bowel syndrome that are going to the bathroom like 10 or 12 times a day, or be constipated for 10 to 12 times a day. Take this within 3 days, get down to almost normal, all right? It's amazing what it does. So it's got potassium gluconate in there. So this is how brilliant our supplements. And again, this is why you get what you pay for. and not be like, oh, I'm just going to take probiotics or digestive enzymes. That doesn't necessarily solve the problem. So here's what happens. It's a several-step process. So potassium gluconate is the first thing that enters there. Okay, it gets to the cells faster. What it does is it literally punches holes, okay, inside of the like Candida's cell walls. So it just punches the holes, all right? Then what happens, you got lysozymes there, okay? This also helps poke more holes. Then it goes in and it enters inside the cell there. Then you have essential oils like oregano and thyme. It enters the cells and it literally obliterates and it blows up, okay, the bad bacterial cells from the inside out. How cool is that? So it's like literally like it's inserting a Trojan horse into the bad bacterial cells, and like they blow up and they die instantly. So people that take this, they within 3 days notice a major difference. All right, now, those first 3 days may be a little bit crazy because it's like nuclear warfare going on inside your digestive system. But as soon as you get through that phase like that, it's like digestive heaven. Okay, I take this stuff every single day. It's unbelievable. And then after that, there's also a probiotic in there. So then what happens is what's called reinoculation and repair. So we can't just kill the bad stuff, but we have to replace it back then with good stuff then to repair that digestive health. So here's the 4 R's of GI support, all right? Number 1 is remove. Gotta get the bad stuff out of there. So it's identifying food allergens and sensitivities. And if you don't want to do testing, just remember anything that is man-made is going to be a food allergen and it can cause food insensitivities, all right? The essential oils, the oregano, thyme, the lysozymes and things there, okay, are going to be destroying all the bad cells, and it's going to specifically work on things like E. coli and Candida. Then you got to reinoculate with the probiotics. And the best ones to do that are going to be subtilis lactobacilli. So just put lactobacilli, subtilis. I repeated that. Sorry, it's subtilis and lactobacilli. Those are the two. All right, those are the two most hardy and basically like so they can kind of get entered in while the essential oils and the lysozymes are disrupting all the bad cells. They can withstand that, so they don't get killed along on that way. So they're kind of like they're parachuting in with the bombs. Okay. Then you got to repair. So L-glutamine is an amino acid that specifically helps with cell wall repair, all right? So it's going to help repair your digestive system lining, seal up those holes where toxins are leaking out of, and then you got to replace, all right? So doing things like fermented foods like raw cabbage, okay, sauerkraut, right? Organic, no sugar added pickles, all right? Dill pickles are good for that as well. Whole fat, no sugar, plain yogurt, okay, is another good reinoculator as well. Goat yogurt is also very, very good, all right? So this was after, what was this? I think it was 1 week of using E. coli. We took a culture of one of the researchers. This is the E. coli population going on in that person's digestive system. And after a week of using Max GI, there was it after that. So it went from 10 to the 3rd power, so 3 million down to 10,000, or 1 million down to 10,000 colonies. So what is that? That divided by what, 90%? I think I got rid of 90% or more of that in 1 week. All right. So again, that's fixing your digestive system so you can absorb food properly. So here's how this links then to ghrelin. And if you were at the Total Food Makeover back in February, remember me talking about ghrelin? That's the hunger hormone. That's the growling in your stomach, right? So that's like when your stomach growls, that's literally the ghrelin being shot out so your body can hear like, oh, I need to eat, all right? So when your digestive system is crazy and going crazy, then it's constantly shooting out ghrelin because it can't control the release of that, so it's telling you you're always hungry, all right? So you see all these things are connected, right? Everything is connected inside of your body, which is why trying to treat medically one symptom or the other with these certain things is never going to help you get well, ever, because it's not going to help you get down to the chain reaction of the cause. So levels of ghrelin will go up when insulin and leptin go up, and they'll go way up when you get a lack of sleep. All right, this is huge, all right? Huge, 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 huge. So the less you sleep, the more you eat, all right? It is a physiological problem inside of your body. So it's, again, so that happens. So overweight people, I'm just going to read this. Overweight people have overactive ghrelin from the leptin being off, which means you are in a false state of perceived starvation, all right? So again, your body literally thinks that it's starving because of how much leptin and ghrelin is off. So then what happens is you get dramatic metabolic confusion going on inside of your body. Again, that's where it showed the picture, the fat guy, okay, who thought he weighed 150 pounds. So they also reduce inflammation in your digestive tract, all right? So ghrelin actually, when it's at the proper level, when it's in normal balance, will help keep those cell walls nice and tight so toxins can't leak out of there. But again, the toxic digestive bacterial flora like Candida, E. coli, things like that, they're going to punch and make your body make more ghrelin so they can basically create further survival, all right? So again, antibiotics, Candida are the main causes of the type of bacterial imbalances, so they're going to throw your ghrelin levels off. Have I convinced everybody you should never get an antibiotic ever again in your entire life? Okay, thank you. Praise the Lord. We're gonna have a written record here, so everybody that came to this talk. So if you come in and say, "Oh, my doctor prescribed me an antibiotic last week, and I'm literally gonna punch you in the face." Okay, and then I'm gonna go punch your doctor in the face. That is medical malpractice. Every time an antibiotic prescription is written, it's medical malpractice, and that's my opinion, all right? So looking at testosterone, right? Ghrelin's very quickly, because if you fix your insulin and your leptin levels, your ghrelin levels will fix themselves, all right? And you fix your digestive system. So testosterone. Now, I wanted just to kind of recap and link back and again further solidify that the type of exercise you've been doing over the past 2 weeks here is really the only type of exercise that you should ever do, all right? Because that is going to make your testosterone and human growth hormone levels be at optimal levels, which is going to keep you in a fat-burning, lean muscle-building state 24/7, okay? So, again, muscle mass times your exercise intensity, okay, is going to mean maximum testosterone release and maximum HGH release. So you get more muscle. Again, and don't get, sometimes the women, like, they think, oh, like, yeah, I'm going to get all this, like, bulky and gross. Absolutely not, okay? Those women are, like, shooting themselves with, like, horse hormones to get that big, okay? You will be just toned, all right? My wife works out 3 times a week doing this stuff. Like, she is not, and she's been doing it for 6 months. She's not gotten bulky. She's gotten more toned, all right? So it's going to, bulky in her stomach because she's a baby. We can't control that, right? It's going to increase your bone density. So another major problem, right? People's hormones get screwed up. They get osteopenia and they get osteoporosis. So again, women that don't like to exercise, that's why more women get osteopenia and you don't hear about typically men getting osteoporosis because we just naturally have a little bit better testosterone levels. But women, you need testosterone levels too, and also sex drive, libido, okay? So belly fat is going to convert, if you don't have enough testosterone body, it's going to convert it into estrogen too. So because it's saying, I need estrogen is actually a higher priority hormone in your body. So if you don't have enough, then your body's going to take whatever testosterone you would have and turn it into estrogen anyways, all right? Which is not good for men and women. There's typically a natural decline throughout the course of your life, right, as ages go on. It doesn't have to be that way. So again, this is why typically men in their 60s and 70s begin to really lose all their muscle mass goes downhill, sex drive goes downhill, because you're not doing something specifically to keep it higher, okay? So burst training and surge training will help keep that up, okay? And we can actually see like the ratios go a little bit more like that. Then they plateau and they never go lower than that, okay? So you can control that. So this is not a way to burst train. I walked my dog, right? Or this is another way here, right? This is a real picture. This is a real picture for a gym in California. So there's the stairs in the middle, or we can just take the escalator. Like, what the heck? You're like, this is dumb. I can only imagine that what these type of people do for their workouts. They probably just, it's like the lazy stroll on the treadmill, right? It's like, oh, I'm working out. It's like they're talking on their phone, they're like doing work on the computer, and they're watching sports all at the same time. Like that's not exercise. So this is kind of this picture sums it up. It's like, which would you rather be, muscular and lean, or stringy? And this is actually what's called a medical condition called skinny fat. All right. This guy has about 6 to 8% body fat. This guy's in the 18 to 20%. All right. Now this guy can run way longer and way further than this guy right here. All right. But he has about 18 to 20% body fat, even though they're marathon runners. So that's why the long duration running exercise, those people, they may be thin sometimes, not always, especially if their leptin's off. They're going to be thin, but their body fat percentage is still going to be high. Their muscle percentage is going to be very, very, very low, all right? Compared to the opposite. Like, what kind of training do you think this guy does? Sprinter. What do? They run sprints, okay? So they'll run for 30 seconds and they'll take a break, all right? And they walk back, okay? So again, they're doing burst training. That's what they do, right? It's surge training. What does this guy do? He goes and runs for 6 hours, all right? Great for him. He's going to have good cardiovascular conditioning, but I guarantee you this guy does too, all right? But, you know, which of these people are more likely to die of a heart attack then? Yeah, you don't hear about people having heart attacks during sprint races. They always have heart attacks during marathons. So cortisol. We spent a lot of time on this one here today too, all right? Because this is another major problem with Americans. So it's steroid hormone produced by your adrenal glands, which are they're little tiny glands located down by your kidneys, okay? When cortisol is off and elevated, it's going to increase your appetite and slow down your metabolism, okay? It cannibalizes, or therefore that breaks down muscle. So that's why people that go through really, really, really intense, stressful periods, oftentimes they'll shrink and they'll lose a lot of weight, okay, from that, because all their metabolism, or all their muscles get cannibalized. Thyroid function goes down. So you see how this place is all connected then again. So your thyroid goes hypo, right? And then your energy goes down, your metabolism goes down, your hair starts thinning. And so again, now the doctor does a test that they don't look at your cortisol, but they look at they see your thyroid is off. So now they start giving you Synthroid, which artificially elevates up your thyroid problem, but that's not still getting down to the cause of the problem in the first place, and that's why you take increasingly amounts of Synthroid then for the rest of your life, because it's still not getting down to the cause of the problem. Your insulin resistance is going to go up even more, okay? And then it shuts down your adrenal function. So you basically, to sum it up, overweight, no energy, lightheaded, and sick all the time. All right, chronic sickness. Those are kind of the hallmark signs. And then belly fat. Those are the hallmark signs of cortisol levels being off. So there's a normal biorhythm that goes on inside of the body, okay? And so the blue line right here is going to be melatonin. So that's the sleep thing. You think it's like the sleep hormone. The red line here is cortisol, okay? So you can see that first thing in the morning, 6 in the morning, that as your body starts to wake up, cortisol spikes, right? And that basically jump starts it and activates it. Now, normally though, and before noon actually, you can see that the cortisol production is actually diminished by 50%, okay? And by the time you go to bed, it's basically non-existent. This is in a normal person, all right? And actually, it'll even go into conservation mode then in the middle of the night, okay? Now, melatonin, you can see, during the morning, obviously should be very low, because if it's high, you're going to be really groggy and have a hard time, waking up. And then it goes into maximal production at nighttime, okay, through there. So you wind down, and it starts producing there, then you're in physical repair, and then the early morning hours are where you get psychological repair, all right? So that's why it's so important. It's like for sleep, like when you're exercising or you work a physical job, is that the amount of hours of sleep you get before midnight, okay, you're going to get more physical repair there in your body, all right? Now, if you're people that are waking up like at 2 or 3 in the morning, that's why those people are typically have a lot of stress or a lot of anxiety, because they're not getting the normal psychological repair. Does that make sense? Okay? So, again, if you don't want your body to be aging and breaking down, then quality sleep is going to be key. Otherwise, you're going to be fighting a losing battle, all right? And we're going to talk about some ways and some strategies to get better sleep here, too. So, in the cortisol, for somebody who's out of rhythm, here's kind of more what it looks like. Spikes, and it stays way high throughout the entire day, okay? And then it dips down hardly in the morning before it spikes again. So that's why these people, they're called being wired and tired, all right? So your body's like high strung all the time, like you feel like you're like almost jittery, but you're very tired at the same time, all right? Wired and tired. So I can't really explain that, medically, but it's more something like when I say that statement, maybe some of you can kind of relate, like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. I feel wired, but I'm tired. So what raises it? Stress, nutrient deficiencies, lack of sleep, low blood sugar, food sensitivities, those low-grade infections, again, coming from digestive system imbalances, and prolonged workouts. So again, those people, skinny fat, running for an hour or more, their cortisol levels are through the roof, all right, by the time they are done. So their body's going to go in fat storing mode, which is why those people, even though they may burn 900 or 1,000 calories during a 7 or 8 hour run, their body is conserving as much fat as it possibly can, all right? It's not burning that. So by lack of sleep, everybody is different here. If you want to know what your sleep levels should be, there's kind of a good way to do it. Like next time you're on vacation, go to bed at a set time every single night, like pick 11. You don't set an alarm and you allow your body to sleep until you wake up, all right? So you do that, if you do like 3 or 4 nights in order to get that, and then by then you'll be reset. By the 4th night, you just kind of go to bed and you wake up, and however long you sleep, by the time you wake up, you'll know how many hours you individually need for sleep, all right? Now, when you go back to a work environment, you may probably want to add an hour onto that, but at least it will give you an idea of what your set point is. Most people is 7 to 8 hours, okay? So you go to bed, let's say at 11, you're on vacation, okay? You go to bed at 11 o'clock every single night, all right? You don't set an alarm in the morning, so you just sleep, and you wake up whatever time you wake up at, all right? Then you do that for 3 nights in a row, and your that's basically cleaning out any sleep depravity, okay? Then you sleep the 4th night, and then you'll see how long you sleep, and that's what and then when you wake up, then you'll know how many hours you need. So if you wake up at 6, then you know your body needs about 7 hours of sleep to be at best function, okay? But you can't just do it one night and see what it is, because you may be sleep deprived, so you're still kind of playing catch up, all right? So I'm going to talk about homovalinate and vanilla mandolate in a second here, as far as nutrient deficiencies and where those come from. But stress is a big one, and lack of sleep is another very, very, very big one too. So I'm going to do a quick case study here. So as far as some weight loss resistance, so we recently ran blood work and a urine analysis on a pastor, a 51-year-old guy. He's got a busy church in this area here, like 1,200 people. So there's a lot of stress, obviously, with that, okay? He's been working out 6 days a week for 60 minutes or more for the last 6 months, okay? During that time, he's lost 5 pounds, right? Obviously, what's the first thing that sticks out to you? Well, but what else is happening, though, as far as cortisol production? Long workouts, right? Really long workouts. 60 minutes is way too long. And then, again, the majority of the fat, he's pretty trim, kind of like chest and up there, as like arms are pretty trim, but all the fat is accumulating down here, and it's not going away from in that area right there. Obviously, stress is going to be another big one. Not taking enough vacations. Okay, so here was his report that we ran. Number 1, we found that his homovalinate was off. All right, that is a neurotransmitter function there. Basically mean that his body was not converting and switching over. So this is a way to show that his body was producing way too much cortisol. So again, I don't even like to test cortisol all that much too, because that's testing an end product. There's many things and many different byproducts that can make cortisol high. So we'd want to figure out why is the cortisol high. So his was off because his homovalinate was off. Also his 5-HIA, don't worry about these here. That was also very low too there. So again, he was in a fat conservation mode. What he's doing. Then real quickly here in toxicity, his pyroglutamate levels were very low. That is what helps make your body glutathione. So whoever said toxicity was right. So his body was not adequately fending off the level of toxicity that he either A, had going on, or B, he was also continuing to put in, all right? So again, so this guy's like, I don't know why I'm losing weight. I'm like, well, rather than guessing why that's happening, we ran a test on him to figure it out why it was. And I called him yesterday to tell him that we figured it out, and he was over the moon about that. So I'm like, now it's time to go to work and fixing that, okay? So Max Fit is a great product. It reboots cortisol, all right? It reboots cortisol. In fact, within hours of taking it, your cortisol levels will be lowered by 26%, all right? So the way this works, you take 3 a day of it, so it's designed to really, you take one of each meal, okay? So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so that throughout the course of the day, you're keeping your cortisol levels at least 26% lower than where they should be, all right? So, you can take them all 3 at once, but that's only going to lower it, like a little bit more for probably the morning, but it's better to do one each day, one each meal there, and it keeps your cortisol levels a little bit more balanced throughout the day. So ashwagandha does that. Green coffee bean extract, all right, is in there. That also helps to lower the cortisol. It's also good for blood pressure, energy, lean body mass. Again, that's the weight around the midsection is one of the hallmark signs, again, of cortisol problems. So here's some other strategies. Take time off to play, all right? You got to do something daily that you love to do, all right? I know this sounds like stupidly simple, but you guys don't love yourselves enough, all right? So you don't take care of yourselves the way that you should be in doing things that bring you happiness and joy and de-stress. So then when you're high strung all the time and you're wired and tired then your cortisol levels are always up. So something as simple as doing something that relaxes you at the end of the day, right, can help lower cortisol levels down, especially at nighttime, because you don't want your cortisol levels to be high at nighttime, because then you're going to be storing fat all night instead of burning fat, okay? And then there's some other ones here, but take vacations. We're the country that works the hardest, we take the least amount of vacations, and we're dying the earliest. So how is that working out for us, okay? And the other thing too is that we're spending the most money on medical bills. So it's like, well, I have to work so I can make money. It's like, well, if you're going to die early and have way more medical bills, you might as well have fun and play now, okay, and live longer and have less medical bills. So again, investing in your health can happen by taking time off too, okay, and relaxing. So that's why every now and then I just need to get the heck away from you guys. So I can be better for you, okay, when I come back. All right. Some of you more than others. Just kidding. So a little bit more on sleep here, okay. I've been doing a lot of research here on sleep lately because I would say after nutrition and exercise, sleep is probably the next most important thing when it comes to how your hormones are working, not only from your brain function. So this is going to be some mind-blowing research here, but again, my goal is hopefully that you will start setting solid yellow lines and blocked off times for you guys sleeping at nighttime. Because I know a lot of you laying in bed watching TV to all the wee hours of the morning or not setting a set schedule. It's hurting you way more than you think, all right? So I'm just going to read this here. Negative stimuli get processed by the amygdala, which is a little, about acorn-sized thing in the side of your brain, inside of your brain. And positive or neutral memories get processed by your hippocampus. So think of negative stimuli like war, famine, disease, cancer, violence, all right? Positive would be like, times with your family, right? Okay, those fun activities. So that that's your brain's process those in different parts of it. Sleep deprivation affects the hippocampus harder, all right? So the result is that sleep-deprived people will hold on to negative stimuli and emotions way more than people that get the proper sleep, all right? Which is why when you don't sleep, not only are you worse off hormone-wise, but literally the emotions are being held on by your body and it's eating you alive, okay? So again, the more you sleep, the better you can clear negative emotions like stress, right? And the better you'll be able to hold on to the happier things and the happier stimuli. So again, gloomy memories and you're just a miserable person to be around when you don't sleep. University of Pennsylvania found that when they shortened adults' hours of sleeping down to 6 hours a night for just 2 weeks, okay? So 2 weeks of sleeping only 6 hours a night. When they tested them, the people said, I feel fine. But when they did their performance test, they scored just as bad as if somebody had stayed awake for 24 hours straight and did the same test. So meaning you're functioning like you're a walking zombie. And yeah, you've grown accustomed to doing that and being used to doing it. But again, so that meaning like that, and that's only 6 hours. Think about people if you're only doing 4 or 5 hours a night. Okay, you're way worse off. And that's only doing it for 2 weeks. Okay. So every hour of lost sleep that you have equates to a 7-point IQ drop. So some of you are dumber than you should be, okay? But listen, you think about this, not only the importance of making decisions, but performance at work, success, right? Especially if your income is based, dependent upon how well you do. I mean, think about how much money you could be losing by just not sleeping enough, okay? It's ridiculous. In Edina, Minnesota, it's near where I'm from, what they did is they pushed back the start times of their middle schools and high schools an hour. So instead of starting at 7:30 to 8:30, their SAT scores went up by 60 points just by doing that. So pretty amazing. Again, you think about it as important as for adults, it's all that much more important for kids. So again, focus problems, attention problems. It's not because God gave kids, Americans, bad brains, but our sleep cycles that boundaries for the kids. I've been doing every parenting books. That's where I got that one from there. Okay. So again, sleep loss also affects your body's ability to extract glucose from your bloodstream, insulin, right? It's going to increase your hormone of ghrelin, which makes you more hungry, decrease leptin, which suppresses your appetite and makes you store fat more. Elevates cortisol. Okay, human growth hormones, that's your fat-burning, muscle-building hormone is disrupted. Middle and high school students, that odds of obesity went up by 80% for each hour of sleep lost, okay? And then another study found that the stage of slow wave sleep, so before midnight, is especially critical to proper insulin sensitivity. So again, every hour of sleep you get before midnight makes your body more sensitive to insulin and getting sugar out of your bloodstream. Okay, so it's not, oh, I go to bed at 2 and I wake up at 10 in the morning. It's like, that's not good, all right? You should be more like a 10 to 6 sleeping pattern, all right? You're actually way better off by doing it that way. You'd be better off by going to bed at 10 and waking up at 5 than you would be going to bed at 1 and waking up at 11, okay? Because you're not getting the proper amount of sleep because your cortisol levels, remember that sleep cycle, all those things are trying to go up because it's recognizing that the sun's coming up and you get screwed up. So sleep deprivation, here's just a quick kind of summary here. Increased hunger, your increased opportunity to eat, altered thermal regulation, which is metabolism, increased fatigue, increased stress hormones. So your alertness and concentration goes down, energy expenditure goes down, caloric intake goes up, obesity, all right, or overweight problems. Also, when you're not sleeping enough, your dopamine gets low. People that have really, so again, this is some of the stuff that you need to identify in yourselves here. If your dopamine is low, that means you're going to be exhausted in the morning even though you just got a full night's sleep, okay? So if that's you, guarantee your dopamine levels are low, all right? So you need motivation or you need like stimulants like coffee. If you need coffee to get going, like you need, like you're going to kill somebody if you don't get a cup of coffee before you leave the house. Dopamine is low, all right? Also tend to be very stressed out and angry people too. Again, it's just true. Like it's just a character trait. You're just more aggressive, all right? That's dopamine. Now when your serotonin is low, that's another neurotransmitter. You're the person that can't sleep. Okay, so you're having problems falling asleep at nighttime. You crave sugar, chocolates, breads. You have headaches, low sex drive, hot flashes. And then if you have a 5 HIA problem, like that case study I showed too, you're also going to have low melatonin, and that's kind of where it comes from. Remember, melatonin helps you fall into a deep sleep. So if you're having problems falling asleep, now that's not staying asleep, that's a different problem, but falling asleep in the first place, serotonin is low. Everybody got that one? So, new line of supplements that we had come out. We have sleep and mood, we have adrenal energy, and adrenal calm, all right? So this is just a quick summary. If you have problems staying asleep, okay, and you're feeling depressed, your serotonin's low, and again, that needs sleep and mood, all right? If you're wired and tired, and you have problems concentrating and focus, that's adrenal energy is what you need. And if you're having issues falling asleep, okay, and need to calm your brain down, then you need adrenal calm, okay? So staying asleep, so if you're falling asleep fine, waking up in the middle of the night, sleep and mood, all right? Or that'd also be some aggression there and anger too. If you're wired and tired, it's adrenal energy. If you're having issues falling asleep, like at the beginning of the night, that's adrenal calm. Next one is carnitine, all right? So here are the hallmark signs of carnitine deficiencies. Fatigue, muscle weakness, decreased tolerance to metabolic stress, and you have also a weight loss resistance. So what carnitine does is really good for your cardiovascular system particularly, okay? Helps with people that have chronic fatigue or Lyme disease are typically very, very, very deficient in carnitine because their body chews through it very quickly. Their body's very stressed out. They have hyperthyroid issues, male fertility issues, and then like brain and mood problems, so like ADD or ADHD. And this could be like maybe not something you're diagnosed with, but you have a hard time focusing and concentrating. That could be you as well. It relates nicely with omegas 3s in your body and insulin. So these are the trio of fat loss. So carnitine, omegas, and insulin. Carnitine, which I'm going to show in a second, carnitine is what helps your body burn fat. So I'm going to show a chart here in a second that you can take a picture of. But insulin is there, okay, and connected to that. So the more energy you have, and from carnitine there, the less fat storage you'll have. So let me just skip to this part here, because this is the most important part. So we'll get some biochemistry here. Again, remember this is advanced nutrition, so everybody wake up here. There's an energy cycle in your body called the Krebs cycle or the citric acid cycle, okay? There's 3 different forms of energy you can get: fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. They all go through different channels in your body metabolically to make energy, all right? Everybody with me so far on that part? Now, in order for carbohydrates to turn into the energy, you need B vitamins, okay? Proteins also go through a similar channel. They need B vitamins. Fats, though, in order to get into the energy cycle, it needs carnitine to bring that into that energy cycle, all right? Now, so for a lot of people, the reason why your energy sucks is because you're either deficient in B vitamins or you're deficient in carnitine, depending upon what's going on. Now, some people have problems once they can get the energy in their body fine, in the energy cycle fine, but it gets disrupted in there. But I want to mainly focus again. So here's the problem with that, because for a lot of people, then when you eat a lot of high-fat diets, like this person here, it's a 29-year-old male with a high stress, a really, really active job. These adipate and subarate right here shows a severe deficiency in carnitine. Okay, so this person ate a very healthy diet, no prescription drugs. Around 4:30 in the afternoon, this person would get a major drop in the inside of his energy. Okay, and so and then also major muscle fatigue and soreness after exercise. This was me. Okay, so this is me. This is my test right there results. Now, so meaning that my fatty acid metabolism sucked. Now, and I know a lot of you that know what I eat. What do I eat mostly of? What do I eat mostly for nutrition? No, I eat fat like crazy. Okay, so I'm trying to put the right things in my body. However, my body was out of balance, so really all the fat didn't even know where to go. It didn't know how to be properly utilized. So my energy, even though everything else like protein and carbs, when I ate that in proper amounts, I would get good energy from that. But high-fat diets wasn't working out very well for me as far as how well my energy was producing. So since I've been taking carnitine, boom, it's through the roof, all right? Like, I mean, I'm like 6:30 at night, I'm like, where's the next person? I'm ready to keep going, okay? No, it really makes a huge difference. So, again, this is why testing can be very, very, very valuable to knowing and understanding the metabolic processes or imbalances going on inside of your body right now to see what's going on, okay? So this is me, and again, you see why it's a problem. So like, if we just kind of guess like what we should be eating, like you can kind of like be good only part of the way. So this has changed my life, all right? So again, fat burning, fat storage, getting energy from fat, getting toxins out. It helps promote CoQ10 production inside of your body, which is also good for your heart. So it's good for the heart muscle, metabolism, and your nervous system. Pro-L-carnitine. So everybody take a deep breath in. Blow it all the way out. Awesome. Okay. So we got about 15 minutes left here, okay? So what I want to talk about next is I want to transition into, because I know there's a lot of guests here talking about the importance of the nervous system and how that connects inside of your body, okay? So patients, don't tune out, okay, because this is still important. You need to be remembering why you take care of your spine and your nervous system as well. But here's the one thing that ties everything together, all right? It's your nervous system, because the nervous system is the system in your body which controls all health, all healing, all function, all normality. Okay, is run by whether your heart beating, your lungs breathing, your stomach digesting food. So traditionally, we've always thought as the golden rule of nutrition being you are what you eat. All right, but again, now that we know through testing and how well your body is functioning, we now know that it's not true. It's how well your body is able to digest, assimilate, and put those nutrients to use, all right? So meaning that a lot of people can eat the best foods in the world, they can take the best supplements, but if like the nerves going to your digestive system are being damaged or not functioning properly, right through you, okay? Remember, the only expensive supplement is the one that doesn't work, all right? That's the only expensive supplement that is the one that doesn't work. So what is health? Who can tell me what the definition of health is? Retest time. Lack of disease, okay? It's part of it. See, this is why we're going over this again. Because if you want to be healthy, don't you have to know what the definition of health is? Right? Okay, good. So this is why we're reducing it. We're going over this again. Most people would say that health is when I look good or when I feel good. But the problem with that is that when you feel good, what do most people do when they feel bad? What do they take? Take a drug, okay? Cover up those symptoms. We've gone on and on again. Oh, I have a chest cold, I have bronchitis. Take an antibiotic, that's killing you, all right? All the top deadly diseases like heart disease and cancer, diabetes, have little to no symptoms while they're forming inside of your body, which is why people can be literally at the gym, dropped out of a heart attack because heart disease was forming inside of their body. This one is the biggest one of the men, is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's like, yeah, I feel pretty good, you know, everything is attached, my arm's not hanging off or falling off, okay? So I must be doing okay, I can stop taking care of my body and stop taking care of my health. It's like, okay, well, is that the exact same thing you do with your car then? So when your check engine light isn't on, then it's like you don't take it in for regular maintenance. It's like, no, you still do it when you should, all right? So definition of health. according to the top organization of healthcare on the planet, is that it's the optimal functioning of your body, mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually, and not merely the absence of symptoms or disease, okay? Because that's a big thing, is that you can have symptoms like diarrhea, and that could actually be the right thing going on inside of your body. It could be getting rid of toxins, right? If you eat something like food poisoning, you better hope you get diarrhea, and that comes out of you, because that's going to cause more problems if it stays in there. So health is all about 100% function. And if you think about how much sense that makes, again, it's like our healthcare system completely overlooks function. Completely. And in fact, it does nothing to test function. All it does is they may take some blood, they look in your eyes and your ears. That's not testing function, all right? That's testing a level that they can treat with the drug. That's all it is. So that's why the nervous system is the system that controls all function and healing inside of your body, and it's the most important system of your body. Meaning that if I cut the nerve that goes to your hearts, what happens to all your hearts? Dead. Immediately. Disconnected, all right? If we scaled that back, and instead of doing that, if I squeeze and I put pressure on that nerve now on the inside, is that heart going to get healthier or sicker over time? Every single time, all right? Whether you feel it or not, if the nerve is being choked off, it's going to be getting sicker. And that could be going for every single part of your body. To your thyroid, to your digestive organs, to your lower back muscles. It could be anything, all right? So that's why the spine is so important here. It has to be straight from front to back. It has to be. From the side, there has to be 3 perfect curves, which is why your posture is so critical, whether it's at work or on a daily basis, because if your head is starting to shift forward like this, one shoulder's higher than the other, or one hip is higher than the other, that's a sign that your spine is shifted out of balance, and when that happens, it will put pressure on your spinal cord, all right? So here's what a normal x-ray of the side picture of the neck looks like from the side, all right? Here's what it looks like on the inside. So remember, this is why we always talk about the arc of life. You know, you're taking care of your neck, the most important part of your body, because it's closest to your brain right here. So the brain's sending signals down through this white spinal cord here, and then out all the nerves to every single part of your body. So if you damage your spinal cord severely, like Christopher Reeves, obviously it causes severe issues inside of your body. This guy instantly became paralyzed, and he's got a breathing tube there, his digestive system shut down, his heart shut down, lungs shut down, immune system shut down. This picture right here, this is literally 2 days before he had his accident. This picture was taken 5 years after he had his accident. Look at how fast he aged, all right? And no wonder your body would age very quickly, because you see spinal cord injuries affects every organ in your body and leads to what's called accelerated aging, according to medical spinal cord injury experts. So in fact, I only have one person that's ever seen me that's had a spinal cord injury. He's in a wheelchair. You know, it's caused major problems in his body, but what we see is pressure and damage coming from misalignments in the spine, all right? There might not be a fracture, there might not be a broken bone, in fact there usually is not, but loss of the normal curvature of the neck will actually pinch and choke off and damage the spinal cord. So here's an MRI of somebody that's lost that curvature in the neck. You can see that white part here is being choked off right inside that person's brainstem and spinal cord. How well do you think the signals from this person's brain then are going to be getting out to the rest of their body? They cannot, all right? It is physically impossible for it to be functioning well. And this person may feel fine, all right? If it's not pushing on the part of the nerves that controls pain, which is only 6%, okay? The other 94% of your nerves are controlling your muscles and your organs. Then you could be having your body shutting down without you even feeling it. It's literally, that's why it's called a silent killer. Subluxation, nerve system damage is called a silent killer. So you can see here, 6% is pain, that's it. So if you're basing the health of your nervous system and your spine only off of how your spine or nervous system feels, then you could be having literally 94% of your nerves being choked off and not feel one bit of it, okay? So that's why you got to base it off of how well is it functioning, therefore what does the positioning of it look like, how well is your spine moving, how healthy is the joints. So this is one of my patients, Janae. We actually just filmed a testimonial video with her, because when I first met her about a little over a year ago, she was really struggling with weight problems, sluggish and tired, some stiffness in her upper back and neck. Over the course of, from 2011 to 2012, she gained 50 pounds in 1 year, all right? And during that time, she was eating organic food, she was juicing 5 times a week, and she was eating everything raw, so she was cooking nothing, which is like about as elite as you can get as far as a nutritional standpoint. When we look at her neck here, she lost the curve completely, all right? In fact, it had been there for a long, long time, because she had a little bit of arthritis here. The nerves going to her thyroid, which sits right here, being choked off. And so started working with her, and after a couple months of adjustments on there, we brought it from -4 up to +5. So she's getting 9 degrees, which is about a 20% improvement. But what's amazing is that her thyroid gland kicked on, and she lost 50 pounds in a matter of about 4 months, okay? And to this date now, she's lost 60. She's down to 60 pounds of weight loss, back to where she was, I think she said, when she was in college. And she's been working out. She's doing the challenge. She couldn't be here today because she's with her pastor, but she's killing it, all right? And she's got her fastest 5K time. So there's a pre and a post picture. Maybe hard to see from where you're at right there, but doing amazing. And then here's the key, is that she lost that 50, 60 pounds last, she got that down by September of last year, so within 6 months, she's kept it off. That's the key. So again, it's like, what's the point of working hard and losing weight if you're just going to go back and do the same darn things that got you overweight and fat in the first place, right? It doesn't make any sense to do that. So here are some of the hallmark signs of nervous system pressure and damage. So obviously, kind of the most common ones people are familiar with is that the nerves going to your neck or your back muscles are sore, they hurt. Those are being pinched and damaged. Or the ones going up into your head, your blood vessels in your head are being pinched and damaged. That will cause headaches or sinus issues. If they're going to your digestive organs, they can cause digestive imbalances, thyroid. Okay, so basically, because every single part of your body is being controlled by the nervous system, then any issue going on inside of your body could potentially be stemming from a nervous system issue. Or that may be shutting down and developing a problem, and you may not know it or may not feel it, so that's why it's so critical to do testing. So the 2 tests you can do, again, posture, look in the mirror. If you see one shoulder higher than the other, that is a window into your spine. If your head is shifted any amount of distance in front of your shoulders like that, even if it's a millimeter or 2, that'll put pressure on your spinal cord. And the best way is to do a black and white picture, an x-ray, to see what's going on, to see how well those nerves are functioning on the inside. So one of the things that we're doing for any of the guests that are here today that have never got an x-ray, or maybe it's been a long time since you've had an x-ray of your spine, is we're going to give you the opportunity to do that. And if you think about the importance of this here, if you're still like, well, should I do this or not? It's like, I guarantee you, hopefully anyways, every single one of you in this room here, whether you're a patient of mine or not, has gotten an x-ray of your teeth in the last year or 2, right? Pretty much every single person has had that done. Like, what the crap? How have you not got an x-ray of your spine? Like, you can get your teeth can rot and fall out. You can get fake ones in. Not that you should let that happen. But if your spine is rotting and degenerating and breaking down, you can't get a new one, all right? And therefore, it's becoming diseased, and therefore your nerves become diseased. So for those that are guests here that like to get this done, Dr. Emily is going to be in the back corner of that back room right there with our schedule to be able to get you checked. So what you can do is you can sign up for that first visit to get a history consultation and examination and x-rays with us, and we're doing that for only $40. So that's kind of our referral price. So whether you refer to the office here or not, or know somebody here or not, since you've been doing the challenge with us, all right, we'll let you do that for $40. We have special times available for that. There's no strings attached on that, but I will say, like, if you're really not like interested in like, following through on anything, you might as well not do it. You know what I mean? Like, but if you're like, I want to get my body functioning to 100% as well as possible, that's what we specialize here in the office. So the only thing we ask is that, if you're going to make an appointment time, I think a lot of you saw how busy we are here this morning. Don't make an appointment and don't show up, because that seriously screws up our schedule. Lonnie and Keisha get mad at me, and then I get mad at them, and then it's just not. And then my cortisol levels go up, and then nobody's happy. Okay. So I got 4 slides here left. All right, 4.5. And I want to hit vitamin D very quickly, because I've only ever really talked about vitamin D as far as its relationship to your immune system. But upon looking, there is about 200 to 250 epidemiological studies that are linking your vitamin D levels to your ability to burn fat, all right? I was not even aware of this, all right? It's unbelievable, but your body, the higher your vitamin D level is, the more responsive it is to insulin. Okay, when they go low, your parathyroid level hormones go up, which causes your fat cells to convert sugar into more fat cells, okay? Also, low vitamin D levels have been proportionately linked with low leptin levels as well. So, again, when vitamin D levels are low, the hypothalamus, that's the part of your brain, the happy part of your brain that regulates all the hormone functions, is going to respond by increasing your set. Think about the thermostat. It raises the thermostat of where your body's set weight point should be. And when that happens, so you go up to, like, let's say it should be 140, it goes up to 180. And that's why a lot of people will get stuck around a specific number no matter what they do, because they can lose a little bit of weight, but they go down to 180 and they go back up. Or they'll go down to 170, but then they'll bounce back up to 180 without changing much, because their set points off. Men with low testosterone, when they were given vitamin D daily by 5,000 IUs, their testosterone levels went up by 20% in 1 year, and they also lost 12 pounds. That was one study. Menopausal and premenopausal women consistently have low levels of vitamin D, all right? So if that's playing havoc on your body, when they found that 3 months of 10,000 IUs of supplementation, the symptoms that go along with that were dramatically improved. Awesome. For your husband and your wife, has that problem, you're going to be happy about that, okay? I'm just kidding. Kind of, not really. In another study, 17 out of 20 women who lost 10 pounds, okay, they increased their vitamin D levels by 27%. So where should you be, all right? Again, medical tests will say if you're at 30 or above, you're okay. That is not true, all right? That is like a disease prevention, all right? But if you want to be in an optimal health, you need to be between 50 and 70. I would say it's even to be safer, you want to be on the 70 plus side. 70 to 80 would be even a little bit better, okay? But 70 would be really your minimum target for where you want to be with your vitamin D levels. So I will say that for any patient that's ever brought in their vitamin D levels to me to look at their blood report test there, I've only ever had, out of, let's see, how many, probably hundreds, one person that had 70 or higher out of thousands of people that have come through my office.